drooling like you've seen drooling, Diesel, with NFL pro scouts and Fernando Mendoza from a pro day yesterday where there was nobody blocking for Fernando Mendoza. There was no safeties coming down on the quarterback. There were no corners guarding the receivers. There were no defensive linemen up the middle of the gap in the face of Fernando Mendoza. And there were no defensive ends to flush Mendoza to the left or the right. Welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. That's where we start. Just a few days now. 21 days from the NFL draft, Diesel. It is approaching rapidly. And I saw some reaction this morning and last night to Fernando Mendoza, who I like, by the way, who I like a lot. I think you like him as well. A pro day. Oh, my gosh. Did you know people could overhype a pro day like they have the past 24 hours?
How many teams showed up to Fernando Mendoza's pro day?
I would imagine the Raiders did.
Yeah. Because the question is, why would anyone else show up to Fernando's pro day? The Raiders are going to take him. It's not like whoever's drafting 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, he's not going to fall to you. Think how much money, how much jet fuel was burnt, Cole, flying representatives of other teams to his pro day when you know you're not going to get him.
Yeah, and look, Diesel, I understand the aspect of the unselfish Fernando Mendoza that he is, wanting his other athletes to get recognition, right? And he talked about that, and I appreciate that. I do. I like the unselfish aspect of it where, hey, it's not just about me. There's other talent out there that needs to be recognized. But here's my question. As we look at these quarterbacks in the draft here in just a second, how do you really evaluate talent when you're just stepping back, taking a snap, throwing a ball? There's no defense whatsoever. There's no offensive line. There is nothing, Diesel, that's less football than a pro day. You know how we see 7-on-7s a lot at the high school level?
Yeah.
7-on-7s, I've always said, is a sport of their own. It's not football. It's a different sport. Right. You don't have pass rushers. You don't have offensive. You don't have a running back. So I'm not saying like let's eliminate pro days, but I'm just dumbfounded, I guess, that some people still put so much stock into a pro day where a pass catcher is receiving a ball from a quarterback. And those are the only two players on the field.
Like, how can you say he can make all the throws when he has literally no pressure of any kind?
I don't know.
He better make all the throws on a pro day when nobody is coming after him. If a quarterback misses any throws on a pro day, that's a big old red flag. That tells me he can't make the throws. Because if he can't make it with nobody coming after him, if he can't make it with nobody guarding his receiver, if he can't make it when he doesn't really have to throw it into a tight window, he can just kind of put it in a general area and let his receiver go get it and make him look good.
Yeah.
Then like, what are you really learning about him?
It blows my mind, man. It really does. But let's get into that. A big show on the way, TOLO'S, for you on this Thursday. If you don't know what a TOLO is, how about turn it on, leave it on? You might find out here in a little while. We've got John Whittle of the Big Spur coming up at 4:22. The TOLO Takeover at 5 p.m. Diesel. I've got two thoughts that might upset some people, but a loaded show. We want to hear from you. 443-263-3663. The Joy Law Firm text line is open as well. Does it feel like, as we start looking at these quarterbacks just 21 days away from the draft, Diesel, does it feel like this is a weaker and maybe even very weak quarterback draft? And again, that's no slight at Fernando Mendoza or Garrett Nussmeier. I just don't feel the same as I have in past drafts about the quarterbacks.
No, I wouldn't say it's a weaker quarterback class. I would say that most other quarterback draft classes are way overhyped. You know, there's years when, like, what did Anthony Richardson go in the top 10 or something like that?
I'm pretty good.
Pretty high. That guy stinks. He stunk in college. He stinks in the pros. Yet everybody had convinced themselves leading up to the draft that he was an elite quarterback, and this was a deep class, and they had to go way down. They had to reach to go get this guy.
He was 4th overall, by the way.
It's ludicrous. So very often it's sort of like that accordion effect, or like that little desktop little toy thing where the ball would swing and hit him and knock the other one that way. Like,
I like that.
You either overhype one guy and forget about the rest, which is Fernando Mendoza, or you overhype all of them and you kind of miss the forest for the trees, and understanding that there are more elite players, whether they be pass rushers, quarterback blockers, whatever, wide receivers. You just forget about those guys and you just get sucked into this quarterback hype.
So you're saying us as media overhype things?
We're the problem.
No, certainly not. Good to see Blake on the Facebook stream. He checks in by saying TOLO, which stands for turn on, leave on. TOLO's on the text line. Those listening on traditional FM radio, why don't you become as good as the TOLO's on the stream and check in like they do with a TOLO check-in. You know, in class growing up, you would say present or here, or your friend would make a dumb joke when the substitute was calling the roster, the class roster. Is that what you call it?
What did you call it?
What did you call that? Is it a roster?
No,
it wasn't a roster.
It's not a word
class.
for it.
What class? Class.
Did we just both get like COVID brain and can't remember
what do you call it? Not a lineup. A lineup's in baseball.
What is it called?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
that was so bad. Well, you and I just both went.
Neither one of us has a clue.
Anyway,
neither one of us has a clue.
Sorry. I was getting at, why don't the TOLO's listening on FM use the Joy Law Firm and text line and check in like those on the stream do? Let us know where you're listening from, who it is that is listening.
I'm Googling it, and Google doesn't even know.
Is it a roster?
No, it's not a roster.
You sure?
Yeah, it's like, what do you call a list of students in a class? And it goes, it says class size. That's not right.
No. I don't know why we're struggling with this like we are. I just can't think of.
I guess roster.
I don't know.
Roll call.
Thank you. There we go.
Goodness.
Who saved us? Oh, Hayden. Hayden. Look, I know Hayden. He's a teacher. He's a teacher. That's why he knew that.
But see, what is roll?
Roll
what
call.
Roll?
You call the roll. You roll the call. I don't know.
What is a roll? I've never heard, like, nobody uses roll like that in any other way.
That's weird, isn't it? But yes, roll call. Thank you, Hayden. You're the best.
We got TOLO'S like screaming at us.
Oh, no doubt. MD75 checking in on the YouTube stream. TOLO J Butane checks in on the Joy Law Firm text line. He says, don't sleep on the text line. I don't know. I'm not sleeping on you. I'm just saying the streamers, the streaming TOLO's, the STOLO's, do a lot better job checking in than the old FM junkies out there.
We check in with the text line all the time. I think you texters are sleeping.
Yeah,
you're asleep at the wheel. You need to text into the show.
Yep, I like it.
And let us know.
J-Tez, there's J-Tez checking in. He says, roll J-Tez. Good to hear from you. J-Tez, TOLO, J Butane. Let us know what you are or where you are listening from or watching from on this TOLO Thursday. Nonetheless, I think you're right. The quarterback hype is always what dictates how we feel about the draft. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. I don't know that this is a bad quarterback draft. I just don't know, going back to your point, if there are quarterbacks in this draft diesel that jump off the page. Like, think about it like this. Fernando Mendoza is number one. We all know he's the number one quarterback taken. But then after Fernando Mendoza, you have Ty Simpson, who was good. You have Garrett Nussmeier, who
disappointed.
Wasn't great.
Really disappointed.
And then got benched. Right?
Had Garrett and Cade been what we thought they were going to be, this would be an insanely deep
might
NFL
be like
draft
2 or
class.
3, right? Then you've got Carson Beck, who was good. Carson Beck wasn't, the best thing since sliced bread, but Carson Beck was good. Drew Aller, talk about disappointing. And look, to be fair, he got hurt. So to be fair on that, right? Cole Payton from North Dakota State. He's got a good name.
Who?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I don't think this is the best draft class as the quarterback goes. Now, what I do find fascinating, it's always fun to see who that quarterback is that pops up in the NFL, like a Tony Romo, who was from Eastern Illinois University, or maybe it is
EIU.
I think it was Eastern Illinois, or a Cole Payton from North Dakota State, right? Senior, 6'3", 232, had a good pro day, but he's not a name that we all know. He's not a household name. By the way, good to see Stephen Webb checking in on the Facebook stream. He says, TOLO day 2, wife, 12-fish, Me, 8 fish. Oh, he's still on Lake Greenwood.
Ouch.
Getting your butt kicked there.
Eastern Illinois mascot. Take a guess.
Eastern Illinois mascot, the Land Rovers.
Incorrect.
I don't know. What is it?
The Panthers.
Panthers. I think that's where Romo went.
Yeah.
I just like the story. I like the story of a quarterback coming out of nowhere, right? But, Diesel, when you look at these quarterbacks, Fernando Mendoza is projected to go round 1, pick 1 to the Las Vegas Raiders. But if you look at the latest mock draft, the next quarterback, look at this. Does this not tell you how bad this quarterback draft is? And I know you said maybe it's not too bad. Maybe it's just not being overhyped. You have to keep scrolling on the latest mock draft before you find the next quarterback behind Fernando Mendoza. I just told you, Diesel, Ty Simpson is the number 2 quarterback projected to be taken in the draft, right? Ty Simpson out of Alabama had a good year. But when you look at these latest mock drafts, and I know these mock drafts are not the end-all, be-all, you don't see Ty Simpson until round 2. So what does that tell you if there's only one quarterback projected to go in the first round of the draft in 21 days? Only one quarterback. I'm not saying that these players aren't any good. Maybe, like you said, there are a lot of other good players at other positions who are just really talented. And then also maybe there are a lot of teams out there that don't really need a quarterback.
No, I mean, look at what some of these teams who are sitting right now inside the top 10 have done at quarterback lately. The New York Jets brought in Geno Smith. Arizona Cardinals, they're making quarterback moves. The Tennessee Titans, they have a young quarterback. The Giants have a young quarterback. Most of the Cleveland Browns, they have a young quarterback. They're not quarterback needy in this year's draft. So, it's lucky that it happened this way in a year where the quarterback draft class isn't as strong as it is some years. There's not a lot of teams that actually need quarterbacks.
And that's weird because it seems like every other year, everybody needs a quarterback. It seems like there's a line at the door, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 every year to get a quarterback. That's the way it feels. And to look at the projected mock draft, and only one quarterback be projected to go in the first round, it doesn't feel normal. It just doesn't. Blake on Facebook says, this could have been one of the best quarterback draft classes I can remember off the top of my head if all the quarterbacks who had preseason hype lived up to the hype. Speaking of Cade, Nussmeier, Aller, Sellers, and more. And I think that's what you were talking about a minute ago, Diesel. I think Blake's 100% right. Think about what could have been with this quarterback class. Cade Klubnik, not great. Mm-hmm. Garrett Nussmeier got benched at LSU. New coach, Drew Aller, got hurt. Lenoris, bad year. So this quarterback class has a lot to do with the quarterbacks that didn't perform well in 2025. And I cannot remember a time, maybe you can, I can't remember a time where so many quarterbacks disappointed all at the same time. Cade and Garrett were projected to be like top 5 in the draft. And to see neither of them even, like, is it even, and this might piss Clemson fans off, is it even a foregone conclusion that Cade's going to be an NFL quarterback one day? Like, I'm not saying he won't be, but you go look at the mock draft. Where do you see Cade Klubnik? It's down the list.
If I had to guess, Cade's a late second round guy.
I think that's high.
Late second, yeah, at best.
I think that's high. And again, no disrespect to him, but what he did this year wasn't great. Obviously, Lenoris comes back, right? Not going to the draft, so Lenoris still in Columbia.
And he doesn't necessarily have the measurables that NFL scouts want. Like, he's not 6'6".
Who's that?
Cade.
Cade, yeah.
He's not 6'6", 240 pounds. And he's also not that kind of small, slender Lamar Jackson type that is like, highly maneuverable. He's kind of a tweener quarterback, and he needed just monster production in college to be that elite NFL quarterback, at least the type of guy that they would reach up to go and draft, and he just didn't have that.
I just wonder if Clemson fans out there, in their heart of hearts, 5 years from now, if they feel as if Cade Klubnik will be a quarterback in the NFL. 5 years from today will be 2031. Is that right?
Yep.
5 years going into the 2031 season. Are you confident saying Cade Klubnik's going to be on an NFL roster?
Who will be in the NFL at a later date? Cade Klubnik or Kirk Cousins?
God, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Kirk Cousins
He's old.
Just got the bag today in Las Vegas.
Yeah. And that's a fun one, too. Who would be there longer, Cade or Lenoris? Lenoris, obviously, one more year in college, right, in Columbia. We all think he's going to go to the NFL. We don't know. But now Cade's – look, I think Cade could be a good NFL quarterback. I just, I don't see his game translating well to the NFL. Go ahead.
I'm curious what Cade's degree was because he's going to need to find a job in there.
Well, NIL might have bought him some time, right? NIL might have bought him some time. He might be filthy rich at this point, richer than most people listening in the audience right now because of his NIL package, making a couple million a year, right?
Don't overlook J-Tez. He's loaded.
Well, that's true. That's true. Texter Tolo J. Butane says SMU got a sleeper for 2027. Malachi Ziegler. 1 year at SMU, then top quarterback in the portal. 2 years from now, you all will be talking about him, says Tolo J. Butane. The next best quarterback after Ty Simpson, Diesel, Garrett Nussmeier, who is a redshirt senior. I think graduated high school in 2009, right? I'm kidding. But he has listen to this, the number 3 quarterback, and I think this just tells you all you need to know. The number 3 quarterback in the NFL draft is projected to be a late day 2, early day 3 draft pick. That's the number 3 quarterback that might not even go in the second round. Might go day 3.
Yeah.
And Blake Hammett said it on the stream. He entered the 2025 season as the guy, his height, 6'2", 203, a good, NFL quarterback height. Not the tallest guy in the world, but you got to look back to 2024, Diesel. In 2024, he threw for 4,052 passing yards, 29 touchdowns. So going out of 2024 to 2025, you thought, my gosh, this guy's going to be really good. Things didn't work out that way. 1,900 passing yards, 12 touchdowns, 5 picks in 9 games last year. He did battle some injuries. He had tendonitis in his knee. That was one thing that didn't, allow us to see him at full health. Mm-hmm. But you look at Nussmeier and you think, okay, when this guy's healthy, he does kind of have the pro-style NFL fit. And you would imagine that if he is healthy now, in the right system, maybe Nussmeier's the guy I was talking about earlier that could be the guy that surprises us, even though he is a big name. What if he's healthy? What if he falls late and doesn't go to a bad team, goes into a good situation with a good quarterback, sits for a year or two? Maybe Nussmeier could have a good NFL career.
That's the ideal, to be honest. I mean, if you're not going to be a top 10 pick as a quarterback, I would rather be bottom of the first round, bottom of the second round.
Me too.
Especially now.
The money's not the same.
No, the money in the NFL is not the same. But if you're there, we're talking about Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, and Carson Beck as those types of guys, which I'm surprised that Carson Beck is mocked as low as he is. He's got the measurables. He had success in 2 different places and in multiple systems. I know he didn't win the Natty, but I mean, come on, what do these scouts value? Do they value the size, the body type? Do they value the success that they had in college? Do they value the maturity that they gained in college? I would say Carson Beck checks off more of those boxes than most of the guys on this list. So it shocks me that who put together this list, this top 10 quarterbacks list, that Carson Beck is number 4 on their list.
And that doesn't mean, and that, just to your point, that doesn't mean this is how it's going to turn out, obviously.
Sure, it's just a mock.
And Tolo J. Butane brings up a good point on the Joy Law Firm text line, says, why waste a pick when you can win with scraps like Seattle? Well, I don't know that I would label them scraps. Maybe Sam Darnold is Tolo J. Butane, who you're labeling a scrap. Maybe a little disrespectful considering the season Sam Darnold's had the last 2 years. He's been really good in Minnesota, this past year in Seattle. But I understand your point. And we've talked about this a million times, not wasting, in air quotes, a draft pick on a quarterback high. Build your roster. Hey, Panthers, build your roster, build your roster, build your roster. And then when you feel like you have a good roster, go get a quarterback.
Well, we're also in an era of not wasting a previous high draft pick. There was a reason why Sam Darnold was a high draft pick. There's a reason why some of these guys were highly sought after. And you know as well as I do, Cole, how many times this is like a dead horse that's been beaten into the dust, that when great players go to bad teams, they struggle, right? I mean, it's very rare when a guy comes out of college as the number one quarterback. He goes to the worst team in the league.
Darnold
and instantly turns him into a winner. That just doesn't happen. So, there are guys out there that Sam Darnold left me scratching my head. I couldn't believe that guy came back after the first couple of stops that he had to do what he's done.
He was the third, by the way.
But we're in an era of, it's not nostalgia. It's just realizing what you have and realizing that, sometimes reshuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic actually works and puts you in a position to be successful.
And I'm just more and more convinced every year as I watch NFL and college. Maybe I'll change my tune one day, but I'm more and more convinced every year that if I were a GM, because that'll happen one day, right? If I were an NFL GM, Diesel, my philosophy would be that of Seattle. It's like what Tolo J. Butane said. I want to build a good roster. And then I'll find a quarterback when I feel like I'm ready to win, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I want to find I want to build a good roster. The right time, grab a quarterback. By the way, you go look at Nick Saban's success in college. He won a lot of national championships with a good roster and a pretty good quarterback. Nick Saban didn't have Deshaun Watson's at quarterback. Point being, you can win with Sam Darnold's at quarterback. Look at this past year.
You got enough dudes around him that Sam Darnold looks like Tom Brady.
That's what I'm saying. So I think every year that goes by, I think I'm more and more in that camp. That's why I think the Panthers should do that. Keep Bryce Young. Keep him. If you've got a quarterback that's not great, just keep the guy. Keep building the roster. Build the roster. And then when, bam, you feel like you're ready to compete, maybe there's a quarterback out there better than the one you have, then you make a move.
Yeah, I like the letting a quarterback's value tank that was good out of college, getting him on the cheap, and then maybe you can turn him into a winner without having to spend a ton of money.
Yeah.
Or, early in his tenure with you. It's Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. Going to go all the way until 7 o'clock tonight. When we come back, Cole, there's a rule coming in college basketball that makes a tremendous amount of sense. It's a great rule. I fully support this rule. I just wonder how long it's going to last before it gets struck down in court. We'll bring it up next.
More fired up than your group chat after. State.
Cole, if I'm the NCAA, I'm taking my hands off the wheel. I'm like, y'all have it. We're not going to administrate it anymore. We're not going to pump any money into it. You can't use our registered trademarks every time we try to come up with rules. Immediately, you're looking for ways to strike them down. Remember this back and forth that the NCAA has had with Trinidad Chambliss in Mississippi?
Unfortunately, yeah.
We talked about this a couple of days ago. Maybe it was late last week, that the NCAA had tried to counter the ruling that made him eligible by saying, well, no, we should have the final rights to implement eligibility rules in our own sport. And the court in Mississippi said, no, you don't have that right. You don't get to set your own rules. So again, if you're an organization that can't set your own rules, why are you even running the sport anymore? Well, here's a brand new rule from the NCAA that, again, I'm just waiting by the minute to find out when this is going to get sued and struck down in court. But the NCAA has implemented, has proposed changes to eligibility rules that would effectively eliminate the situations that we had with Charles Bediako at Alabama and James Njai at Baylor. So the rules basically state, Cole, that that once you have entered your name into the NBA draft, there ain't no coming back in any way, shape, or form. Quote, let's see. Quote, after 2 high-profile cases this season, the NCAA will consider changes to the eligibility rules, including one that would bar athletes who have entered and remained in a professional sports draft from competing in college. The new rules, if approved, would be effective for athletes entering college this fall. It makes a tremendous amount of sense. Basically, it says once you go into the draft and you choose not to pull your name back out of the draft, once you go through the process, that's it. You're done. But this is going to get sued, and they're going to lose, and they're going to have egg on their face again.
And you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a business, and let's just use the radio station we're sitting at, for example. It's a building that's been here for a long time. This building's probably been here, 20 years?
200 years, I think.
20, 25, 30 years, however long. This building's been here. Employees going in and out, right? People got fired. People have gotten hired. Oh, by the way, on Thursday, one of the engineers found that one of the back doors in the back never locks. It always stays unlocked.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's a good idea to create a rule to lock the door. Well, yeah, that should have been done 25, 30, 45, 50 years ago. That's kind of what this reminds me of. Well, duh. Yeah, there needs to be, it's 2026 and we're having a conversation about players that go pro that can't come back. No crap.
They're trying to close the loophole that allowed Charles Bediako to play G League and have that not count as playing in the NBA. And also the rule of Joseph Njai, who never signed an NBA contract, but instead, he was drafted, by the way, but instead went off and played in Europe for a couple of years and then came back to college. And so they're trying to put up the wall at entering your name into the draft and staying in the draft until draft day. It's not like, well, you can go into the draft.
Yeah.
You don't like where you got drafted after all, so you just pull your name back out, which, number one, that's not fair to the teams that may draft you.
But you could test the draft.
But you could test it.
You could test it, get your feet wet, right? See where you'd go.
You can enter your name into the draft, see where your draft prospectus is, and you say, no, I don't like that. I want to go back to college.
I'm fine with that.
So it's the opposite of the baseball rule. This is fascinating because this will only apply to basketball. This will not apply to baseball, that has the rule where you can go be drafted by a Major League Baseball organization, and 1,000 kids get drafted every year in a Major League Baseball, and it doesn't matter. They get to say, well, I don't really like being a 9th round pick of the Royals. I'm going to go back to college.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. They can do that. But they're trying to close that loophole in college basketball. And as soon as this stuff starts coming out, of course, I see, every single high-powered, high-profile sports law Twitter account saying, this isn't legal. I'm going to sue this. We're already figuring out ways to get around this. I mean, we can't implement any rules because the moment you do, boom, shut down.
Well, there are going to be two sides. There are going to be people who say, I hate it. they're pro player, let the kids explore their options, Diesel. Coaches leave whenever they want. The schools make millions, but players have to make a life decision in a split instance with no flexibility, right? That's what one group's going to say. And then you're going to have the other group that is pro NCAA, I guess, in this instance, right, where they would side with the NCAA and say, hey, this sport needs structure. Here's where I side, because I'm not a coach, and I'm sure as heck not a player. And I don't always think this way, but in this instance, as a fan, somebody who covers the sport like you do, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to listen to what the coaches who are actually in the sport are saying. Now, I'm not saying coaches' opinions are the end-all, be-all. I'm not saying that. But I'm probably going to listen to the coaches before I form an opinion. And guess what? You and I have played audio on this show for the past 4 months from coaches in college basketball who hate this, who don't want a player to be able to go to the draft. And it's not Nate Oates' fault, right, at Alabama. But I don't know that many coaches are on the side of the players on this. And, of course, that's always going to be the case in some situations. That being said, I understand testing the waters. I understand wanting to have a feel for where you're going to go in the NFL draft. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I do have a problem with what happened in Alabama with Charles Bediako when we spent a month on this show and other media outlets spent over a month talking about Charles Bediako instead of the actual game itself. That's where I have a problem, and I think I know I do side with the coaches on this one.
I guarantee you that Nate Oates and Scott Drew, being coaches that have been around this game for a long, long time, neither one of them liked the process of what was going on. Neither one of them liked having guys that had gone on and played professionally in some way, shape, or form coming back into college basketball, but their job is to win games. And they're going to look at it like, well, hey, I don't like this, but here's a really good player that's had some amount of time of development with NBA coaches and personnel that's coming back to my team, and I think my team's going to be better with him. So I'm going to go ahead and put him on the roster and just wait and see what happens when it plays out in court. I've never been in a position where I needed to feel bad for the NCAA, but I feel bad for the NCAA. I mean, they did this to themselves, right? They did this to themselves by not being forward-looking 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when they could see this coming down the pipe. They could have made some concessions to say, hey, we're going to offer this as the way we're going to work going forward, instead of being so rigid the way they've always been. But you're right. I mean, look, we've seen how many coaches leave the game because they don't want to be involved in the way the game looks right now. We saw yesterday the Campbell coach quit because they're just not going to fund basketball. We've seen a lot of coaches leave their position and they'd rather go be assistants somewhere else. Yeah. So I think we're going to see a reduction in the total number of teams available, or the total number of schools that have teams, because they're one by one, they're going to shutter their programs.
And I guess I just want structure. That's all. You know, I don't want an NCAA. I don't want something that fluctuates every single year. And that's what it's doing right now. At some point, you do need structure. I don't want a year-to-year guessing game, Diesel. Who's in, who's out, who's in the NBA, oh, who's in the G League, oh, who's coming back to play college. This, I think, helps clean it up. And you're right, the NCAA did it to themselves. But at the same time, you've got to, somehow, some way, and not just with this, but all of the NCAA issues we talk about on a daily basis, you have to have some kind of structure. I also don't think it's fair for the programs. Think about that.
Sure.
The coaches and the programs, who are the ones investing the money into the student athletes, a lot of money nowadays, a lot of money. So they're waiting on decisions to be made, right? And those can drag and drag and drag. I don't think it's one bit fair for the program. I understand pro player. A lot of people are pro player. We've already gone enough, and we've already gone way too far in that direction. They're getting paid. They're getting compensated. They don't have to go to class. Some of them don't. We won't go down that road. We've already given enough rope to the player here. There has to be some structure where programs aren't put behind the 8 ball because of a player who doesn't know what he wants to do with his life.
Texter says, how about just enforcing the signed contracts, players, schools, and coaches? No need for court except breaches. Well, here's the thing. This is Tolo J. Butane. Technically, legally speaking, these NIL contracts aren't contracts. They're agreements.
Yeah.
It's like a handshake agreement. It's just written down on paper. And I know that you're like, wait a minute, you have a lawyer look it over. You say, if I do this, you'll do that. And then we both sign it. That's contract. Yeah. I mean, it is a contract, but not in the eyes of the law, not in the eyes of the NCAA, not in the eyes of the schools. I mean, what we saw a couple years ago, like a couple months ago, who was it? Georgia, I think, was going to go after a player for leaving. We've seen multiple instances where schools have tried to get backbones and enforce the rules. Clemson tried it with the what's his name, Luke such and such that went to Farrelly, that went to Ole Miss, and ultimately, number one, a whole bunch of fans say, you can't enforce it. There's no contract here. I'm all for contracts, and there's a lot of people who kind of live in this world of nostalgia where I don't want these players to be on contract. I kind of like the world when it was just a handshake and you felt it with your heart and everybody was happy. Well, you can't put that toothpaste back in the tube. I think you have to start implementing contracts, which means employment, because that also then protects the university. Well, at least going into it, this player is here on a 1-year contract or this player is here on a 2-year contract, and it's legally enforceable. And if the player does break that contract, you either get some finances back from him or you can enforce a buyout on the school that is accepting the transfer.
But I also think in this case, with this rule proposed, Diesel, being specifically for basketball, it's important for this sport, not saying like more than it is football or more than it is baseball, but one coach, they depend on 5 players to win games. And if you're having to depend now on one player who you don't know what he's going to do, again, leaving the program in a flux, you can only put 5 on the floor. It's not like you've got 11 out there like you do in football. Look, I'm not saying that this rule is more beneficial to basketball, but you have to protect the sports and the coaches and the programs that need structure in order to properly do their job. And I think this is hopefully a good step in the right direction. But like you said, there will be a lawsuit. There will be – I don't have confidence in this.
Hey, I would by the way, I'm all for enforceability and terms of coaches staying at a school. You take a job at my school, you're going to be here for X amount of time before you can leave. There's so many people who talk about player empowerment. What about the coaches? They can do whatever they want. They shouldn't be able to have the absolute freedom to go wherever they want and hop from job to job to job either. They should honor the terms of their contracts as well.
A couple of scores for you, Diesel, before we run off the break. Well, not a couple, one. The only MLB I can't talk all of a sudden. The only MLB game happening right now, the Twins lead the Royals 1-0 in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Only 2 other MLB games today. 9:40 tonight, the Bravos at the Diamondbacks. Atlanta has now become the favorite in that one. Earlier this morning, they were not. 9:45, Mets and Giants. So Royals trailing the Twins 1-0. And then again, the Braves in action tonight at 9:40. Only 3 total MLB games today. So a loaded weekend of of pro baseball. God, don't bring up college baseball right now. What a horrible, horrible time for the state of South Carolina when it comes to spring sports. Baseball, bad. Clemson, South Carolina. Softball, Diesel, not much better. We'll get to those daily wires coming up in about an hour. But this is think about it like this. This is an unprecedented time for South Carolina when it comes to spring sports across the board. Concerning Clemson and South Carolina baseball and softball, all 4 teams are not good. None of them are really great. I think of the 4, Clemson softball might be the best, which is bad because they're average. I think they have an average of 500 record in ACC play, so we'll get into that a little bit later in the show. Tolos, you asked for it. Diesel and I will do a Daily Wire-ish roundup in the very next segment. High school baseball roundup heading into spring break. A lot of big-time high school baseball being played. We have a Daily Wire-ish, I'll come up with a better name in a few minutes, segment, roundup, high school baseball coming up next. Diesel, the past couple of weeks, our Tolos have been ringing us up, texting us up on the text line, the Joy Law Firm text line, saying, hey, talk more high school baseball. So we are. We listen to you. Trey in Kentucky, bam, just now on the Joy Law Firm text line says, Cole, let's hit the circuit with high school baseball. I know we know you love your high school sports, and we do that in this very segment, a Daily Wire-ish roundup. That doesn't roll off the tongue, Diesel, but we'll think of something else. How do we a high school roundup?
Got
maybe
the buzz, the hum, the zip,
something,
the zap,
baseball
zingers.
Related. I like the zingers. I like that. I do like.
We're just gonna spitball here. Something comes out.
Something. Yep. All right. So let's start in 5A. Diesel. We'll do a little back and forth, bouncing off of each other here. Feel free to get any info we missed in on the Joy Law Firm text line, 844-326-3663. We can't cover it all, but we try our best. Let's start up Highway 9 in Boiling Springs. Diesel Boiling Springs off to a good start this season, 11-3 overall, 5-2 in region play. Out of region tonight, playing East Side, so a little break out of the region schedule. The Bulldogs have a Gamecock commit in Gavin Henderson, who has been solid this season. The Bulldogs still have region series with Spartanburg, Gaffney, Wade Hampton remaining. And with Gavin Henderson for Boiling Springs, Diesel, who's to say if he'll stay a Gamecock commit with all the flux right now? Pitcher. Yep. It'll be interesting to see what not only him, other Gamecock commits do with Monty Lee being the head coach. And we expect more change after the season. Maybe. We'll see. That'll be interesting.
No surprise here, Cole. Dorman good at another sport. Dorman absolutely white hot in baseball. 13-1 on the season, 6-1 in region. They're in the middle of their series against Burns this week. Dorman won on Tuesday, 5-3. Game 2 of the series tomorrow at Burns. Dorman's Connor Wells, who's an LSU commit, pitched on Tuesday. Brennan New also committed to Arkansas. So just a ton of talent, a plethora of talent, as it always is when you talk Dorman Cavaliers.
Yeah, they have a lot of college baseball players on that roster. It feels like I watched them run out and take infield Tuesday. They look like a college baseball team. Like they passed the eye test. They're as good as I've seen this year. Probably be making a deep run, maybe playing for a state championship. You mentioned Connor Wells, who pitched Tuesday. He threw 103, 104 pitches. So they've got some dudes that can go. And you mentioned that Burns game. Burns comes into Friday's game against Dorman 11-4, 4-2 on the season. As far as region goes, Burns still has one game left with Gaffney, 2 with Riverside, East Side, and Wade Hampton. The Rebels have one of the best hitters in the region, and DJ Jones. He's a junior, and we'll see if he can be big time tomorrow night. A big time matchup in Duncan as Dorman, like you mentioned, comes to Burns tomorrow night on Friday.
Fascinating stuff here, Cole. The Hillcrest Rams are having a solid season so far. They're 12-3 overall, 6-1 in the region. Malden, Fountain Inn, and Dorman are the only 3 teams to beat Hillcrest this season. You can tell me more about Malden and Fountain Inn. Obviously, we know that Dorman is elite. The Rams host J.L. Mann tonight. Hillcrest beat them 5-1 earlier this week.
Hillcrest's a good team, man. And you talked about Malden there. Malden's always going to have a good baseball team. It feels like every year they're a contender. Malden's had a good start to the season as well. 11-4, 6-1 in region play. The Mavericks defeated Easley on Tuesday, 6-1. They'll host Easley tonight for the second game of that series. The Mavs still have region series left with Greenville, Woodmont, and J.L. Mann. Both Hillcrest, as you mentioned, and Malden, 2 teams in Greenville County that I think could make deep runs this postseason.
The Greenville Red Raiders 8-8 on the season, 3-4 in region play. They fell to Woodmont on Tuesday, 7-3. A rematch is scheduled for tonight. Greenville's lost 3 of their last 4, so kind of a tough stretch there for the Red Raiders.
Yeah, they have. They've had a tough stretch recently. Good program though. We'll see if they bounce back. Diesel Riverside over in Greer, 8-4. Tough stretch lately. They're 1-4 on the season. The Warriors opened up the season 4-0 with wins over Bishop England, Chapman, Saluda, and Gilbert. However, region play has not been kind to Riverside as they've been swept by Spartanburg and Bowling Springs thus far. By the way, as we talk about in football, Diesel, it's a gauntlet region, Region 2 5A. Riverside's won 2 games this week, though, with wins over Wade Hampton and T.O.Hanna. The Warriors are at Wade Hampton tomorrow.
Oh, let's go. Maybe they're off to a little bit of a streak.
Getting hot
at the right time. Coach Henson and Blue Ridge have had a good start to the season so far, 9-4 overall, 4-1 in region play. The Tigers lost to Seneca on Tuesday, 6-4, but they get the rematch coming up on Friday. They also had a 1-run win over Landrum on Monday, 10-9. So the Bats are tagging the ball. TR, Greer, Daniel, and Broome are remaining on their region slate for the rest of the season.
It's a good program. Coach Henson does a really good job. How about the 11-3, 7-0 in region play Greer Yellow Jackets, Diesel? Greer had a 3-game skid early this season, but since has won 10 straight games. Nobody hotter right now in the upstate than the Greer Yellow Jackets. They defeated Pickens 11-2 on Tuesday. They'll travel to Pickens for game 2 of that series tomorrow night.
Another shocker here, Mountain View Prep. Great at baseball. They're 8-0 on the season, and they've won all 5 of their region games. The Stars swept Chapman and Union County so far this season at region play. In those 5 games, MVP outscored Union County and Chapman 44-11. They'll host Saluda this weekend. Is it host or beat the crap out of?
Maybe both. They're a good team, like you said. You know, they're good in football, good in baseball. They've got a good baseball program and a good softball program at Mountain View Prep as well. The Broome Centurions, a few more here, Diesel, have started the season 7-4. A good start for Broome, 5-1 in region play. Centurions coming off of a 3-game sweep over Union County. Next game for Broome will be April 6th at Chesney.
A long layover in
it is.
high school baseball regular season. Speaking of Chesney, the Eagles are 10-7, 6-0 in region. They had a 4-game skid earlier this season, but they've since got hot. They've won 8 of their last 10. Chesney beat Chase 3-2 yesterday.
And a couple more for you to end this high school baseball circuit, as Trey in Kentucky suggested the name there. I like that. The Landrum Cardinals have had a strong 2026 season, boasting an 11-3 record, 3-1 in region play thus far. They did fall to Blue Ridge on Monday by a score of 10-9, but bounced back with a 5-1 win on Tuesday over Brazier Middle College. They will host Brazier Middle College in game 2 tomorrow night. Also, Spartanburg, a team that I have been very impressed with thus far this season, Diesel. They're 12-4, 5-2 in region play. They're playing really good. They've won like 6 games straight. Gaffney, Riverside twice, Burns, Wade Hampton twice. Spartanburg's a team to watch out for. They've got a lot of arms and some pretty solid hitting as well. RJ on the Joy Law Firm text line says, Region 3, 3A baseball standings in order. After Wednesday, MVP 1, Broome 2, Woodruff and Chapman tied for 3. Union, Chapman won an 8-5 thriller over Woodruff last night, tying the series at 1 apiece. So appreciate the info there, RJ, on the Joy Law Firm text line.
TOLO'S coming up at 4:20. We'll have John Whittle of the Big Spur. We'll get into South Carolina baseball talk with him. When we come back, Cole, Pat McAfee is at it again, ripping a prestigious institution for not letting him get involved. I just wonder, is the Masters too good for Pat McAfee? That's next. Look at this, Cole. We've had a drive-by Dewey at 3:37. He pops in, drops a hand grenade, and just walks away. And we haven't heard from Dewey now for 24 minutes on the stream.
Yesterday either. Been a few days.
He's been gone for a little while. Dewey shows up and says fishing isn't a sport.
Were we talking about fishing?
Yeah, we brought up fishing. Remember who was it? The Tolo that said
Steven.
Steven was fishing, and he said his wife's kicking his butt at fishing. She's got more fish than he does. He didn't tell us if she had more poundage of fish than he did, but we know that she's beating him in the number of fish that she's caught. And Dewey says fishing isn't a sport, and I agree with Dewey because you know my stance. There's no defense. It's not a sport.
That's true. That's your stance.
Fishing, I would say, is a contest because you are trying to catch more fish than your other fellow fishermen. But professional fishing, there's so much technology involved that you go and you scout the locations, you find out what they're hitting on first. You have the radar that tells you where they are. You get so much information. It's almost not fair. Like if a bass tournament was literally just throwing a lure out there and hoping that there's a fish there, it would make for a really boring thing to watch. Nobody watching on TV. You got to know where the fish are. But I agree. Fishing is not a sport.
I would say it depends on your definition of what a sport is, right? Like your definition is there has to be defense. I do consider it a sport if it is competitive fishing. If it's leisure, me and you going out and just having a good time, at the golf course, probably shouldn't be fishing. That's one thing. By the way, Eric Hines, Tolo. Eric Hines is, we've talked about this before, some golf course ponds that you're, not supposed to be fishing. We've got a Tolo that lives on a golf course. We need to start hooking. It's that time of year. They're biting. Need to hear from Eric Hines.
He needs to tell us where there are no signs.
There you go.
You can walk in from the way that there are no signs that say no fishing.
If we have Tolos that live on the nice golf courses, please check in. We love you. We really love you more than all the other Tolos. But if it's competitive, I do say it's a sport. If it's just me and you going to waste a few hours, then obviously that might be more of a hobby.
See, I like the word that you said there, competitive. It's a competition.
Yeah.
It's a contest. But to me, it's not a sport. Cole, how much trouble would we get into if we try to sneak onto Augusta National and fish the ponds?
Well, you know what? You only live once, right?
How deep and dark is the jail cell that they would stick you in?
Well, I'm not going to say which ones, but I do fish golf course ponds. I do. I fish them. Yeah, I mean, you just have to.
Everybody knows where the hogs are because all
the big ones,
all that fertilizer that runs into those ponds, it makes the fish grow big and strong.
That's what I'm saying. So if we have Tolos that live on the golf course ponds, it'd be nice if you text it in. Let us know when we can come fish because it's that time. John Dog says, if you're not scoping, you're hoping. Live scope. You know what live scope?
True, yeah.
Live scope. Yeah, that's changed the game a lot.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Let's see. Texter says, aren't the fish playing defense by not trying to get on the hook? They're just trying to find something to eat, Texter. So that's not really defense. They're just trying to have a meal. And that chatterbait looks like a juicy worm.
What are the odds? What are the odds that the exact moment we're talking about fishing, the one Tolo, Eric Hines, who I didn't say where he lives, but I talked to him before on text. I know where he lives on a nice golf course with a nice pond. What are the odds that he was listening and just texted into the show? I mean, that's crazy. That's Tolo right there. Turn on, leave on. Appreciate you, Eric Hines. I have been over there in the past few weeks.
I think I like kayak fishing more than I like bank fishing.
I don't, because I don't want to have to worry about keeping a kayak straight. Like that drives me crazy. If it's windy, you're all over the place.
That's true.
I get frustrated. I start throwing things, saying things I shouldn't. I'd rather just bank fish.
I have lost a lot of lures in the trees while kayak fishing because you just don't have the same base, right? You don't have 2 feet on the ground. But it's a lot of fun. And or you could, since Cole, you make those big bucks here at Odyssey Greenville, you can get one of those kayaks that has like spot lock on it.
Yeah.
And you just stay perfectly still.
Now we're talking.
And you have a motor that keeps you still. Golf. We were talking about golf. We're let in with golf, Cole. The Valero Texas Open is happening right now. Remember, it's the last warm-up event before the Masters. after the first round, most of these guys have finished or are just about to finish. Tony Finau and Davis Thompson leading T1 right now at 6 under par. Tony is done. Davis Thompson has played 18 holes. We'll see what he does on his 18th. Sam Ryder, Will Zalatoris, Tommy Fleetwood, Maverick McNeely, Andrew Novak, and Christo Lamprecht are T3. Scotty Scheffler not playing in this one. You know, his wife just had a baby, so he's with her. I guarantee you he's going to play in the Masters next week. So that's what's going on with the Valero Open.
I would not play. Like, if you have the Masters next week, why would we be playing this week? Like, I know you still want to like have momentum and play well, but all my effort, all my energy is going to go into Augusta National. Like, there's just
sure.
I know it's not like a physical sport where you can get hurt unless you're Tiger, driving there.
It's more dangerous to drive to the course than it is to play the course.
I wouldn't play. So this is like, yeah, it's nice. The Valero, you got some ish names, not big names. But no, everybody, this is the tournament that I feel bad for. Think about it like that, because Valero, like, it's not their fault that they're the weekend before the Masters.
Right.
But they get stuck in a spot where you don't have the big names,
No, you're right. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them are already in Georgia or they're at their homes playing simulator golf at Augusta National. Like, they want to know that course like the back of their hand. Then they get out there on Monday, start playing their practice rounds. The Masters, though, Cole, the Masters is the Daytona 500 of golf. It is the biggest one. No disrespect to the U.S. Open or the British Open or any of the other major tournaments, but the Masters is the tournament every single year. And the Masters brand is so big and so strong that the Masters has told Pat McAfee to kick rocks multiple years in a row. And this got brought up on Pat's show yesterday or the day before, because everybody's up in arms that Jason Kelce is going to be doing some form of commentary at the Masters. Like, we saw, what was it, during the World Baseball Classic, they brought in multiple other commentators who were not baseball commentators.
Yeah.
And, it's hit or miss. It could be good. It could not be good. It's weird that the Masters brings on Jason Kelce, who is known to rip his sleeves off and chug beers and be loud and brash. Yes, he's got an absolutely gigantic podcast. But, you would think that the Masters, after 3 years in a row, according to Pat McAfee telling him thanks but no thanks, you would think that the Masters wouldn't bring on Jason Kelce.
Is Jason Kelce a golf? Like, what am I missing there?
He might play golf. He might like
But why
golf.
is he going to be on, like,
it's a great question.
No.
I don't want he can bring a whole lot more people, new people.
Who cares? You're the Masters. You're telling me the Masters needs more eyeballs? I mean, it's the freaking Masters, for crying out. It's the Super Bowl. It's the Daytona 500 of the sport, By the way, texter RJ on the text line asked, is Jacob Bridgman playing in the Valero Open? No, RJ, to my knowledge, he is not. So no local product in Bridgman this week, and I don't think, I'll double check though. But I don't know, Diesel. I don't like it. I want my Masters to be traditional, the same every year, with the same guys, the same commentators. What does Jason Kelce bring to Masters coverage that I need?
They bring 3.16 million subscribers from their YouTube channel. That's what he brings.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what Jason Kelce has to say about golf. I really don't care what Pat McAfee has to say about golf. You know why? Because Pat McAfee, I know a lot of our Tolos love Pat McAfee, and he's entertaining, in a put on a red nose and a rainbow colored wig kind of way. Like, he's a clown. Pat McAfee is a clown. I don't need clown show at the Masters, right? The Masters is supposed to be a classy affair above that level of commentary.
But unfortunately, that is, like, I don't disagree with you, but unfortunately, that's the way commentary is going. And that's the way sports media is going, is this loose, fun atmosphere that Pat McAfee's brought. And while they haven't allowed Pat McAfee yet, I'd bet you that at some point they do.
Yeah.
Just because of the way the sports media landscape has evolved, from the traditional. I mean, think about it like this. 15, 20 years ago, there weren't near as many ex-players who are media members. Now it's like this new age media where it's only ex-players. And if you're not an ex-player, Diesel, you don't know what you're talking about, right? That's what comes along with that. So I do see both sides. I side more with you. I don't want Jason Kelce or Pat McAfee there. What's wrong with the way the Masters has always done it?
If I need somebody to do commentary of a cornhole tournament or a tractor pull, I'll call Pat McAfee. I'm not calling him for commentary on the Masters or the par 3, which is what he's tried to be a part of for a couple of years. Here's some audio from Pat's show yesterday where he basically says they told him to FO.
Yeah, the internet was rude about this. Obviously, the internet goes on to say, like, we don't need Jason Kelce at the Masters. And that's probably a valid point, if I had to guess. And I'm only saying that strictly because
he agrees with us.
Have attempted to be a part of the Wednesday coverage of the Masters at the par 3 thing for 3 consecutive years now. And for the people that are mad about Jason Kelce being a part of the Masters, I got a good piece of news for you. They've told us to go to hell. So I think you should be happy about that they do try to preserve it as a whole. They have a certain thing that they are looking for. So I think Jason Kelce, who's a dog, who's funny, who's relatable, and is a very good athlete, and is probably friends with a lot of these guys that are going to be golfing in there, I think he will provide a bonus for that par 3 coverage. But to the people that were upset saying that the Masters are the only thing you got left, know that they've turned us down very loudly numerous times, which I think should be good news for the state of their golf.
It's funny. It's almost like he is admitting, yes, we are a clown show. And the Masters has said they don't need us.
Oh, so I am coming to find out now, Jason Kelce is only a part of the par 3 contest.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. My apologies. So my opinion changes a little bit. Mm-hmm. Par 3, okay. I don't want to even change to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Are you tuning in to watch the par 3
I don't
because
watch
Jason Kelce's on it?
I don't watch it anyway.
No.
I don't watch the par 3 if it's Scott Van.
Let's say you love Jason Kelce. Are you tuning in because Jason Kelce's a part of it?
Maybe. It's a good question. I don't love Jason Kelce. So
if what they're trying to do is, how like the NFL has expanded to basically take up the entire sports calendar, like they got something going on just about every month of the year. Maybe the Masters is trying to do that also and find a way to make the par 3 challenge watchable in the way that the par 3 at the Waste Management, where they have that one hole with, the huge grandstands around it. They make that closest to the hole challenge. Must watch TV in a way, must watch TV. If the Masters wants to do that with their par 3 challenge, sure, bring on the clown show. Let them expose their 3 million YouTube subscribers for the New Heights podcast, the whatever number of viewers that Pat McAfee has. But like the Masters doesn't want Pat taking his shirt off and chugging Guinnesses and getting hammered drunk on TV. That's not their brand.
Well, I think it's important to note when we see Jason Kelce, it's going to be buttoned up. I would imagine it's not going to be Jason Kelce out there ripping his shirt off like he does on Monday Night Football, right? So he's interviewing golfers and their families on the course as part of ESPN's coverage of the event, joining Sports Center host SVP and Marty Smith, who we all love. So it'll be SVP, Marty Smith, and Jason Kelce, as it looks as if Kelce will be interviewing the family members of the golfers. So, like, maybe I'm talking myself into being more okay with it since it's only the par 3. Now, I do love the fact that Cole Bryson, have broadcasted last year live from the PGA Championship, but yet Pat McAfee can't broadcast live. So there we go. I can say I have that. He might have millions of dollars and millions of viewers, but I was live last year at the PGA Championship. You take that, Pat. Par 3, I'm okay with. I don't want it expanding more than that. So let me give it a chance next Wednesday before I reserve judgment.
Why do I need Jason Kelce when we've already got Michael Collins?
I like Michael Collins.
Michael Collins is amazing.
He's great. Yeah.
Like it's okay to silo sports and have that set group of talent who works those major events, because Michael Collins obviously knows and loves golf in a way that, I'm assuming Jason Kelce doesn't know golf. Maybe he loves golf, but he doesn't know golf the way Michael Collins is. And Michael Collins is that fun-loving, excitable, say anything, do anything, goofy kind of golf commentary. I want that guy. I don't want a Kelsey in there.
You know, I am going to give it a chance. Now, let me tell you this, and let me ask you this question as well. Did you watch the par 3 before?
I have watched it before. I
don't think I intentionally tune into it. And Eric Hines does bring up a good point on the text line. He says, I think you hate him just because he was an Eagle. Valid point. Very, very valid, Eric. That's very good point. Maybe so. If it were a Cowboy, I'd have no issue with it, right? But let me step back, walk back my comments, and let me give it a chance. Here's the reality, though. I don't know that I'll watch any of the par 3.
Yeah.
I don't turn on the Masters to watch the par 3. I can't tell you if I've ever watched an hour combined of par 3 from the Masters. That's not why I turn it on. But maybe having personalities on that par 3 day like Jason Kelsey and Marty Smith, who I do like, and SVP, who I do like, maybe I'll change my mind and find it more entertaining than I originally thought.
Maybe I'm a certified Pat McAfee hater, but I would, if I tuned in to watch the par 3 and Pat McAfee was on it, I'd turn it off.
Really?
I'd turn it off. Yeah, I genuinely
hate him that much.
I cannot stand Pat
God,
McAfee.
I didn't know that.
I cannot stand
what's the reason?
Pat McAfee. Because he's a clown. Because it sounds bad to say it's because he can't take anything seriously. He just can't take anything ever seriously.
Wow, I did not know you had such disdain for Pat.
I can't stand Pat McAfee.
Wow, that's crazy.
Can't stand him.
Well, I guess
because he walks into the room, he walked on a game day, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to suck up all the oxygen and suck up all the attention. I don't like that personality trait in a person, so I don't like him.
I guess Diesel. He is a polarizing figure that you either love or you hate. I don't know that there are many in-betweens on Pat McAfee.
I guarantee you, Pat would say, I'm glad that you have an opinion on me. I'd rather you have a bad opinion of me than have no opinion of me at all.
Yeah. And there are probably a lot of people like you, Diesel, not putting you into a corner here, that don't like him because of the style in which he broadcasts. Like, it's not traditional broadcasting. It's not traditional sports broadcasting, right? It's this new age ex-player having fun, cracking jokes, saying cuss words, a very new media style of broadcasting. And there are a lot of old people, not calling you old, but you do have a little gray hair up there. People who have an issue with
than on the head, though.
So maybe Pat's built for the younger generation, the younger audience, right? But it is a good conversation. We'll see what the par 3 consists of, Diesel. I can tell you what this weekend will consist of for the Gamecocks. Probably some L's, because they play the number 2 Texas Longhorns. To talk about it, we're joined by John Whittle of the Big Spur next.
844 fan phone. This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Well, the only MLB game happening at the moment, the Twins lead the Royals 1-0 in the bottom of the third inning. Let me hit refresh on that. My apologies. I hadn't done that in a while. That would probably help. They are now on the top of the 8th. That shows you how long it's been since I've hit the refresh button. But Twins still lead the Royals 1-0. Braves in action tonight at 9:40 against the Diamondbacks. Let's talk Gamecock Baseball. John Whittle of the Big Spur joins the show every single Thursday at this very time. John, appreciate your time as always. I want to know from you, somebody who sees this Gamecock baseball program, this Gamecock baseball team day in and day out, what changes have you seen with your eyes from an on-the-field standpoint now that you've had a pretty good sample size of what life looked like with Paul Mainieri compared to what life now looks like under Monty Lee?
Yeah, I mean, it's a decent sample size so far. 6 games, I guess. 6, 7 games, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But, I will say a switch doesn't just flip overnight. It takes some time to evolve. But, I mean, you can certainly see some changes in plate approach and what they're doing. I mean, we talked about on this show several times about, kind of what Paul likes and kind of what Monty likes and how those don't necessarily align too much. But, I mean, you saw last night or 2 nights ago against Wofford how South Carolina's hitters are going deeper into counts and making pitchers work some. And I think the Terriers threw about 180 pitches in 7 innings the other night. And South Carolina worked a lot of walks. I think it was 9 free bases. But when you go deeper into counts, you strike out some. And South Carolina struck out way too much in that game, especially given that it's a Wofford team and you only played 7 innings. So. You're seeing differences in approach. I mean, look no further than KJ Scobie, who's got about as many walks in the last 8 games as he had the entire season. So it's just different. It's different in what they're doing, and there's some successes there. They're getting some guys on base, but they haven't hit well enough yet either to bring some of those guys in. Because usually to score runs, you got to get hits as well.
John, have there been any coaching personnel changes that would put a different voice in the ears of these Gamecock hitters? I mean, I know Monty elevating to interim head coach or elevating to head coach is obviously the things that he has to pay attention to have just expanded from just being a hitting coach. So is it possibly the advice or the word of someone else who stepped in to help take over some of those duties that the players are responding to?
No, I mean, Monty's very hands-on and everything from an offensive standpoint. Stuart Lake is there to help him out a little bit. And, they've always had a good relationship, and they see a lot. They see eye to eye a lot on things. So Stuart Lake's down there helping a little bit where he can, but when it comes to an offensive standpoint, it's Monty Lee who's doing the heavy lifting there.
John, for those that don't know the intricacies of the game like you do, you mentioned something there that we've talked about a few times in approach, and you brought this up before Paul Mainieri was fired with how Paul Mainieri's approach was different than Monty Lee's approach. Can you go into that a little bit? You just mentioned KJ and the walk numbers. For those out there that may not follow those parts of the game as close as you do, what's changed about the hitters' approach under Monty Lee?
Well, Paul is very aggressive in what he wants from his hitters at the plate. He wants guys going up there. He wants them, swinging at strikes. I mean, but he wants them to be aggressive. If you can hit the ball, hit the ball. And when you have really good hitters, that can work some. It's a little bit more of a I don't want to call that an old school approach. I will say that what Monty Lee does is more of what they're teaching, especially in pro ball now. But what Monty likes to do is he likes to shrink the strike zone a good bit. It's oftentimes you're looking for one pitch or one spot or even one pitch in one spot. So he's shrinking the strike zone a good bit, eliminating some pitches, eliminating some places. And when you get a pitch that you want to hit, then you attack it. And, that leads to oftentimes going deeper into counts and being more selective in what you're swinging at. So it's not that Paul was saying go up there and swing at everything. And it's not that Monty Lee is going up there saying swing at nothing. But the mindset in terms of how aggressive you want to be is completely different between the two. So, that's kind of the best way to, I think, to kind of describe it.
John, what's your take on 6 different pitchers throwing for South Carolina in that game? It's not as if they had to pull the starter because he was getting shelled. Wofford didn't score any runs until the 4th inning in that game. And at that point, mathematically, it was already over because the Gamecocks were already up 2-1. So you just go into the strategy a little bit there of throwing that many arms in the midweek.
Yeah, you see it from time to time, especially in midweeks in college baseball, just kind of having a bullpen game where you don't really want to go too much with anybody for whatever reason. One of the reasons for Tuesday night's game is, this series is moved up to tonight, moved up to Thursday. So, that's one less day of rest. And, they threw Alex Valentin in a starting role because they were thinking about moving him into the starting rotation, which they ended up doing. It was kind of just a bullpen day for him. He threw 13 pitches, and they liked what they saw out of him from a preparation standpoint, and so they're going to start him tonight against Longhorns. But there's just some guys out of the bullpen that just needed to throw and get some innings in. And, that game was a little bit tight for a little bit. It wasn't an early blowout for the Gamecocks. So they had to be sure that they were very smart with what they were doing. In their bullpen as well. They wanted to throw some arms last week against UNC, but that game was a little bit tight, and they used some arms that maybe they shouldn't have. And, so they had to manage things a little bit differently this time. But, sometimes you just have to get some guys some work, and that's pretty much what it was on Tuesday against Terriers.
We're talking Gamecock Baseball with John Whittle of the Big Spur. John, a big picture question here, not as if I'm hung up on this, but I do think this is very fascinating. Going back to things like the approach at the plate, things that Monty Lee differs on than a Paul Mainieri, or maybe even the next head coach. Do you think that's just like an attention to detail that maybe Ray Tanner missed in the process, and maybe a good lesson for a Jeremiah Donati when he's evaluating what Monty Lee's doing versus who he keeps for next year versus who he hires to be the next head coach, if it is or isn't Monty Lee? Do you think that all kind of points back to just a detail that was missed by Ray Tanner? Because you would think that those kind of conversations were had in the hiring process when Paul Mainieri comes in and knows that Monty Lee is going to be on the staff, right?
Well, that's a little bit of an assumption there to say that Monty was definitely going to be on the staff. Paul did have some say into whether Monty would come in. Now, whether Paul and Monty completely vetted out, exactly how things were going to work and so forth, I don't. It doesn't seem that way to me.
Sure.
And then there's you can say what you can say what you want to each other, but when it comes time to put into practice, the head coach is going to have the final say. So, I think there was an element of Paul having the best intentions and wanting to kind of turn over some of that over to Monty. And then, as time goes along, you get kind of into the heat of battle and closer to the season, you kind of want to have your own, fingerprints on some things too. So, I understand where you're coming from, and I think there is some truth into what you're saying for sure. But, when you're sitting there and talking about things in June, it's different than, when you're actually on the field, whether it's in October for fall practice or January for preseason, and certainly in March, when you're playing Clemson and you want your guy up there and to go after and hit a double, when there's a guy on second base and you're down a run. So there are a lot of different aspects to it, but you're not wrong in the fact that sometimes you got to dive a little bit deeper into these conversations when you're hiring coaches or when you're having a coaching search, and that is something that may not have been vetted out completely.
Talking to John Whittle of the Big Spur, at John M. Whittle is where you can find and follow him on Twitter. He's on his way to 20,000 followers. TOLO'S, go help him head in that direction. Can you give us a sense of the process, what you anticipate will be the process here in a couple of months when it's time for Jeremiah Donati to make this decision? Is he a kind of a more hands-on guy that wants to be the one vetting out all the different candidates? Is the plan to use like a search firm, a search committee to make recommendations, and then it's ultimately his decision? How would you expect that process to go?
Yeah, that's a good question on the search firm. I'm not sure if that's something that's going to happen or not. I would bet not, but that's just a hunch on my part. I don't know that. So I will say that I'd say he's probably got his toes in the water right now on this coaching search. I think that there's a lot that he wants to see how things play out probably over the next month or so. And then when the calendar flips to May, I think he'll be diving pretty much head first into the nitty gritty on all of this stuff. I mean, there's certainly some things happening right now and some background going on and getting away of the land, so to speak. But, it's not going to be time to fully dive in until we probably get into May. But, there are certainly a lot of candidates who I think that Jeremiah Donati should be interested in. We haven't seen a real major sport coaching search with him. He's hired he had a volleyball coach and a beach volleyball coach, and he's done some other things along the way. But I don't know that we have a real sense just yet of what it's going to be like for a major search for him. So I look forward to figuring that out over the next couple of months and seeing what he likes to do and see what he values and so forth. Over the dozen years of Ray, I got a pretty good sense of what he liked and what he didn't like and how he operated. And with Jeremiah, we'll get used to a little bit something different, I'm sure. But I know that he's already dipped his toes in the water, so to speak, and we'll see how it evolves from there.
John, we've talked about how the plate approach, the hitting, looks a little bit different under Monty Lee. What about the pitching? When you look at this weekend's matchup that you mentioned starts tonight against the number 2 team in Texas, Texas has the 4th best batting average in the SEC. Aiden Robbins is top 10 in batting average in the SEC. They've got guys that can hit the ball on the pitching side for South Carolina. From what you've seen different from Monty Lee's team, this pitching staff under Monty Lee, do you think that's the area of concern, or are there other areas of concern this weekend when you look at this matchup between Texas and South Carolina?
Well, they're all areas of concern for South Carolina this weekend against Texas. And I mean, I'm not even trying to knock South Carolina when I say that. It's just Texas is really good at everything. I mean, you look at them offensively, they get on base, they hit for power, they hit for average. I mean, they do everything pretty well from an offensive standpoint. And then you look at the pitching side, and everything's a little bit better when it comes to them statistically. I mean, they've got the best ERA. They've got the only sub-3 ERA out there. You look at their starting pitchers numbers, and I mean, those guys don't walk anybody, and they strike out everybody. It's incredible. So and defensively, I think they're 4th or 5th best in the league. So it's not like they're giving you much from a defensive standpoint either. Like when you look at Texas, I mean, they're number 2 in the country for a reason. Like they do everything at a pretty elite level. And when you try to figure out okay, where does South Carolina maybe have an advantage, or maybe where can they exploit a little bit? I mean, it's just not there. It's just not there. And that doesn't mean that South Carolina can't win. It means that they've got to have a special day on the mound from a couple of guys, and they got to come through and what will probably be very few opportunities, and just have some things go their way. But Texas is the second best team in the country. South Carolina is down at the bottom of the SEC, battling with Missouri, and that's just kind of where things are with these two teams right now.
It's bad to say this or to ask this question. Is the goal just don't get run ruled this weekend?
Well, I mean, you've got to win a game this weekend. I mean, you don't want to get run ruled. You might take 2 run rules if you can get a win in the third game.
Yeah.
But so it's too early to give up all hope on the season. But if you're going to turn things around, like you've got to start winning a home series. I know it's the number 2 team in the country. You've been playing a little bit better in some ways, and there's you start to see some belief in the dugout, like some energy and some engagement, some camaraderie. Like I think they're feeling all right. And, the Georgia series was largely pretty competitive. That was against the top 10 team on the road. So, but you got to start winning a couple of games here pretty soon, or else you're not going to be in the conversation for the NCAA tournament. And I know that sounds weird to say right now. I mean, like, I'm not saying that South Carolina's really in the conversation for the tournament, because they're not. But there's enough season left where you think you can still have a little bit of a chance to make it. So, but it's got to start with some wins here pretty soon. And a home series is a good place to start. But you got to come out of the weekend with at least one win.
John, you're the best as always. We appreciate your time. We'll talk to you next week.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you as well. John Whittle, the Big Spur. Always great conversation. Tolos, if you missed any of that, you can go back on the Odyssey app. Good stuff there. Texas is number 1 in the SEC pitching, Diesel. They're number 4 in the SEC hitting, and I think they're number 5 defensively. So you add all those 3 together, and you get number 2 in the country. So as John said, it's a very good team. Aiden Robbins is one of the best in the country at what he does. And he said it there. Go look at the SEC and the standings and the statistics. They're the only team with a team ERA that starts with a 2. That is pretty good.
It's an embarrassment of riches at Texas.
That is pretty good. So how the Gamecocks play this weekend, I'll say this. If they can win, if they could somehow win a game, it would be big. It would be a step in the right direction, because this is a very good, the number 2 team in the country. This is going to sound crazy, if they somehow, some way were to win 2, which is not going to happen, I think you do say all of a sudden, whoa, wait a minute. This team looks better. This team's playing better under Monty Lee. Maybe the conversation changes then, but I think it's going to be a tough hill to climb for the Gamecocks this weekend.
Maybe the plan should be for Jeremiah Donati to chat up some of the Texas assistant coaches, which contains, by the way, Troy Tulowitzki is on this Texas staff, as is, and Dan's gonna laugh at this, because Dan is perverted and Dan is childish. There's a baseball coach on the Texas staff named Max Weiner.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just go to break. Let's hit our daily wires next.
update.
So much happening in the wide world of sports. Cole, let's get to all of it right now in just about 7 minutes. How about it? These are our daily wires, the buzz around the sports world. Locally here, things are not going well for Eric Bakich and the Clemson Tigers. They got run-ruled against Wake Forest in 6 last night, a 15-4 loss to Wake Forest. This marks one of the worst losses for Clemson baseball in program history.
One of the worst starts, yeah.
Yeah, back in action tomorrow at Stanford, 9:05 p.m. first pitch.
And he was not there to see it. He got ejected early in last night's game. It was a Lichtenberger pitch clock violation, I believe it was. He got heated. He got tossed. So he probably had to listen to the radio broadcast last night.
John Rittman and Clemson softball is in a 3-game series starting tonight in Blacksburg at Virginia Tech. The Tigers 6-6 in ACC play. I was just there on that campus a couple of weeks ago, Cole, and I saw the softball stadium.
Yeah.
It's kind of just tucked right in there with all the other stuff right behind Lane Stadium.
Big one. They need it. They've been okay this year, but they need a big win this weekend.
Monty Lee and the South Carolina Gamecocks run-ruled Wofford Tuesday, in case you missed that, at Founders Park in Columbia, 11-1 in 7 innings. They're back at home tonight to open a 3-game stint versus the number 2 Texas Longhorns. First pitch, 7 o'clock.
Going to be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough weekend. Ashley Chastain Woodard and the Gamecocks softball begin a 3-game stint in Knoxville tonight at 6 o'clock against Tennessee. They're 2-7 in conference play. What is going on the diamond in this state?
It's not good right now.
Cole, when powerful people start saying things like this, it's time to listen up and pay attention. In an interview with USA Today, Alabama AD Greg Byrne said about the future of the SEC championship game, quote, "I think the ship has sailed. Are we saying goodbye to conference championship games?"
I'm good with it.
Yeah, me too.
I think I am. I didn't know that I'd ever say that, but I think I'm good with it.
I mean, you can't just keep expanding the season. You got to find a way to shrink it somewhere, right?
Axum.
Yeah. Reynaldo Lopez gets the start tonight for the Braves as they face the 3-3 Diamondbacks in Arizona.
Come on.
D-backs had a 1-0 win over Detroit last night. Ryan Nelson takes the mound for Arizona, which enters the game as the favorite. 9:40 Eastern
Let's
on
go.
ESPN Unlimited and MLB TV.
Let's go. Big one tonight. See if we can get off to a good start with this series.
Puka Nacua has checked into rehab.
Oh.
Is it the same one the Tigers going to?
No, I think this one's in the U.S.
Ah, okay. Well, Puka's attorney, Levi McCathern, told the California Post that he was going into rehab last month. A woman in L.A. filed a lawsuit against Puka Nacua, alleging that he made an unprovoked anti-Semitic statement on New Year's Eve and later bit her on the shoulder. Gosh, what does he do?
What?
Which is crazy, because he's such such a happy, high energy guy.
That's weird.
In case you missed it, Florida judge on yesterday, granted Tiger Woods' request to travel outside the U.S. and enter a comprehensive inpatient treatment facility. Woods' attorney, Douglas Duncan, made the motion to travel Wednesday, citing his urgent need for an intensive, highly individualized, and medically integrated program and privacy from media and public scrutiny. Yeah.
Not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't know.
Send him to Siberia. There's no Range
we're-
Rovers to crash over there.
It's Tigers world. We're just living in it.
Gosh. FIFA raised its top ticket price for the World Cup final to $10,990 during the glitch-hampered reopening of sales yesterday after the 48-team field for this year's tournament was finalized. The price had been just a paltry $8,680 when FIFA sold tickets after the tournament draw in December.
A lot of money.
Gosh.
A lot of money at stake there, right?
Yeah.
You buying one?
Yeah, totally. Let me just sell my kidney and go to a FIFA soccer game. Kansas men's basketball coach Bill Self is set to return to the sideline next season. He said in a statement that he remains focused and committed to Kansas and competing for a national championship.
Just a little bit worrisome, I guess. He's had a lot of health issues, man, like a lot, and hopefully he's past them. But you can't beat Father Time, right?
Yeah,
hope
comes for us all.
Hope he's past that.
We talked about this earlier, Cole. The NCAA Division I cabinet will consider proposed changes to eligibility rules which will basically say any player that has entered and stayed in the NBA draft will no longer be eligible to play college basketball. It closes the loophole that allowed Charles Bediako and Joseph Njai to play last year. So we'll see.
Fingers are crossed on that.
Clint Kubiak said on Tuesday that he wanted to add another veteran quarterback to the Raiders roster, and he did so by adding Kirk Cousins on a 5-year, $172 million deal that in reality is a 1-year fully guaranteed $20 million deal that contains a club option. This is per Adam Schefter. Kirk Cousins' $10 million guarantee for 2027 means that he will surpass Tom Brady in NFL career earnings. Kirk, $341+ million. Tom Brady, $333 million.
Kirk's doing something right, isn't he?
God, he is just the GOAT at getting the bag. Let's put it that way. The Hornets host the Suns tonight at 7:00. Charlotte favored by 5.5 points. You can watch. You can't watch that game on regular television. If you want to watch some games tonight, both of these are on Prime Video. T-Wolves, Pistons at 7, Lakers, Thunder at 9:30. And finally,
to heck with them. Watch the Braves.
There you go. And finally, Cole, the Valero Open is in progress. Most of the golfers have finished. Tony Finau and Davis Thompson T1 at 6 under after 1 day. Tommy Fleetwood playing well. Not a lot of the big stars, though, playing in this one.
And then a portal update for you. Not good if you're a Furman Paladin fan. We already know that Wilkins hit the portal. Cooper Bowser announced yesterday he was hitting the portal. Now Asa Thomas hitting the portal for the second year in a row. Plus what you lose, Diesel, to graduation. So you've lost graduation. Now Wilkins, Bowser, and Thomas. Richie going to have to replace his lineup for next year.
If I'm Bob, like I'm sure Bob loves Furman. And again, we don't want to see Bob leave Furman. But if I'm Bob, I'd rather go to a school where I get transfer recruits.
Hopefully,
not constantly lose them.
Well, hopefully he can get some in after
He's
that.
Gonna have to.
Tolo Takeover, 844-326-3663. Get on the phones. Get ready to take over, Tolos. It's your segment. It's next. Well, Diesel, you and I have a job that a lot of people have the opportunity to criticize. They have the opportunity to critique you and I because we reach an audience in Spartanburg and Greenville and Anderson and on the Odyssey app and on the iHeartRadio app. We have an audience in this job that we do. Unfortunately, you and I don't get to go to our TOLO'S jobs and sit in front of them and watch them do their job and critique them and what they do. That is just par for the course. And a lot of times we get criticism for how we do our jobs. I love the criticism. I think it's great. I think it is very, very needed in sports radio. It shows that people are paying attention. I had a guy a couple of weeks ago mad because I didn't tweet out the final score of the Clemson baseball game. I was biased. I mean, people will find anything to be upset about. I say all that to say, Diesel, if you think we suck, if you think all you do is talk, I wish I could talk. I could do a radio show better. Here's your opportunity. Every Thursday at 5 p.m. primetime, drive time, it's the TOLO Takeover. It's you, TOLO'S, your opportunity to take over these airwaves with whatever it is that you want to talk about, sports-related, non-sports related. You want to rant, you can rant. And I might upset some people, Diesel, with what I'm going to talk about first. By the way, phone lines are open, 844-326-3663. Diesel, if you click the link in the rundown, you will see a piece of news that broke this morning that is not April Fool's. This is a real piece of news, I imagine. Mm-hmm. And I might be considered sexist here. If you're a female listening, you might not like what I'm about to have to say. Just FYI. Rivals tweeted out that Thomas Jefferson High School in Virginia has hired Rachel Warshin to become the next new head football coach. Rachel now becomes, Diesel, the first female high school head coach to coach in Virginia in the history of the state. And on this Thursday, in this TOLO Takeover, I ask, what in the world are we thinking with this? A woman coaching football, in my opinion, not Diesel's opinion, my opinion, this has disaster written all over it.
Well, to play devil's advocate, let's just say for the sake of argument here that she is the best, brightest football mind that Thomas Jefferson High School could find. So they went through their process, right? They got the applications, and you know how it goes, right? You're around the high school football world. When a school loses a head coach, there's usually a whole bunch of candidates at other schools in the area saying, "Ooh, I'd be interested in that job." And maybe she's the best one. What if she really is the best one?
I just find it hard to believe. I find it hard to believe that there is a woman that is going to coach a male sport and understand how to coach a male sport in which the way a male coach has coached the sport before.
I don't know, man. I've had some pretty rough and gruff female gym teachers in my lifetime, and I think they're pretty good at getting loud, getting aggressive. She might be okay. You never know.
Loud and aggressive. That's one way to put it. That is one way to. I don't know, man. I do not mean to offend anybody. I don't mean to sound sexist. I don't mean, but it's going to. It's just, it's mind-boggling to me that this is a male sport. And there might be a Disney movie about this in 10 years. There might not. I don't know. All I'm saying is you're telling me the best candidate out there for a high school head coaching position, and this is a real story, Thomas Jefferson High School in Virginia. This woman, this female, is now the head football coach. What football has she played? Again, I'm not saying that you have to play football to be a good coach or a good announcer. I'm not one of those guys. But my goodness, I can't imagine the barriers that she's going to face because she is a female.
Yeah. The
locker room, the halftime speeches.
Yeah.
It's weird.
My first thought is, how's she going to go into the locker room and give halftime speeches? How is she going to be in the locker room with the team doing those pregame warm-up speeches and final adjustments? Because there are some legitimate hurdles to have to figure out. I'm sure that they're not going to make an exception and say, "Oh, it's okay for this female coach to go in the boys' locker room because she's the coach." I mean, it's the same. Look, not to say that girls softball and all the other sports that are female sports, that they haven't had to deal with these same challenges with male coaches, right? Male coaches, they're not allowed to walk through the girls' locker room while they're getting changed and ready to go out and compete. You're just not allowed to do that. Yeah. So this is just the opposite version of that.
This is wild to me. This is so wild. So that's number one on my agenda. Is I am just dumbfounded that we are hiring females to coach high school football. TOLO'S, am I wrong? Am I out of bounds? Am I going a little bit too far? You let me know, 844-326-3663. We're going to get to the phone lines. My second thing on my agenda, Diesel, then we'll get to you and the TOLO'S. I take back every bad thing I've ever said about Vic Schaefer, the Texas women's coach.
You said a lot of bad.
I've said a lot of bad things. I couldn't stand the guy. I take it back. I take it back. I apologize, Vic. And here's why. I heard this piece of audio this morning. This was after they just won a couple of days ago with a net around his neck. Here's what Vic said.
I'm going to kill a turkey in the morning. Turkey season opened Saturday. I'm going to kill a turkey in the morning. I'll be in the office by 10 o'clock, and I'll be in the film, watching film, getting ready. And then the second thing is I'm going to leave for Phoenix tomorrow. Just being honest. That's going to happen. I've earned that right to be in the woods for a couple hours in the morning calling a turkey. And then we'll get ready for whoever's, whatever's going to happen after that. But I'll watch film tonight. Absolutely. All the way home. I'll watch it till I can't stay awake tonight, just like I've done here for 4 or 5 straight nights. But I'm going to treat myself in the morning it might not even take longer than 30 minutes if I can call that dude off the roost. But after that, I'll be in the office and I'll be getting ready for UCLA.
I'm sorry, Vic. I'm sorry for every bad thing I've said. He's a turkey hunter. He's a turkey hunter. I take it back. By the way, turkey season's opens tomorrow, Diesel. You better be glad you and I don't do a morning show together.
Gobble, gobble.
You better be glad you and I are doing an afternoon show, not a morning show.
So if you get the turkey, he says he's going to be in the office by 10 a.m. What's the process like? Like, you've got the turkey, you bag the turkey, and then what do you do with it? You just throw it in the fridge and say, I'll come back and get it later?
No, you usually what you do is you breast it out like a regular bird, like if it was a dove or a duck. Doesn't take long, believe it or not. A turkey doesn't take long to breast out. I know we're getting kind of wild. Just take the feathers off, go through the fat, cut the breast off. Wild turkey meat, Diesel's good. You know what I like to do? Cut them up, little nugget for them, little strips, deep fry them, turkey strips, turkey nuggets. I mean, it's good meat. Doesn't take long. Vic Schaefer's probably a pro. He can press that thing out, have it done, feel dressed in 30 minutes, I bet.
My wife's coworker, she and her husband own a farm up near Greer somewhere. She's bringing us turkey eggs. I've never had turkey eggs before.
See, I hadn't either.
She says they're delicious.
Really?
Yeah.
I have never had them.
They're absolutely delicious.
She's bringing them.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll
bring you one.
Oh, how about that? I'm a new fan of Vic Schaefer now. He's a turkey hunter. He's one of us, and I appreciate that. Diesel, Adam on the text line says, good luck in the morning, Cole. Appreciate that, Adam. But Diesel, let's get to the phone lines, 844-326-3663. Tom in Somerville wants to take over these airwaves, TOLO'S, while Tom goes. Why don't you dial the show, 844-326-3663. And here you go, Tom.
Okay. Now, like you said, like y'all both said, I try not to be disrespectful to anybody, but my goodness, if my kids were playing football at Thomas Jefferson High School and I get an email that says, I don't know her name, is now the head football coach, the way I look at it is this. If my son is playing football in high school, right, I want what's best for my son, whether that is, having a coach that's going to prepare him for after football or prepare him to get a further education to play football at the next level. And the way I see it is I don't know how any 18 or 15 to 18-year-old is going to take a female football coach seriously. It's just and I can't wait to see what that record is this fall, because, you know, I don't ever talk politics, but it appears to be that governor of Virginia is a lunatic, and I guarantee you that this has something to do with the governor wanting to make a difference and all this BS. You know what I mean? If I was a parent at that school with my son was playing football, I'd sell my house and I'd find a house in another school district to where my kid can play football. My kid would be entering the transfer portal. Just put it that way.
I mean, I can only imagine, Tom, what the chants from the other sidelines are going to be, the heckling inside, you know, at the line of scrimmage. I mean,
The student sections.
They're going to be all over these kids for having a female coach.
Yeah, and it's just like y'all said with the locker room. Like, what is she going to do to fire that team up before they go step out on the field on a Friday night? What is she going to say that fires that team up? Because, you know, it's one thing, you know, if you get a coach and she's real pretty and she can keep their attention. But, guys, let's be honest. They didn't hire her because of her looks. And I don't know what her resume is either. So, I mean, I was dumbfounded when I was reading that the other day. It was absolutely crazy.
Sometimes I don't have words.
I mean, Tom, so I assume you've looked up the photo, right? Like you've looked up the story.
Oh, I don't know how anybody can miss that photo.
Yeah, I mean, she certainly looks like she played linebacker or her dad did.
Well, I don't know if she played linebacker. She might have been a flag football linebacker's worst nightmare coming from the offensive line. But good luck to Thomas Jefferson High School. That's all I'm really going to say about that.
Even though you said 10 minutes more than that, but go ahead.
But Kingsley, you mentioned them turkey eggs. Now, when you get them turkey eggs, make sure you don't really want to do it over easy. Make sure you scramble them things up good. Mm-hmm. And then when Cole goes and kills him a turkey, he makes you some fried turkey nuggets. So then you'll have turkey egg, turkey nuggets, and you'll be eating good.
Why do you have to scramble them up good?
That's just what my grandpa always told me back in the day. Whatever reason, you want to scramble them up good. I never asked why. I just lived with that my whole life.
Tom, you are one of a kind.
Yeah. My wife's going to the Carolina baseball game tonight. She asked me if I wanted to go. I said no. I'm staying home and watching the Braves.
Is that a true story? For real? Tom.
Oh,
he hung up. He hung up.
He
just
left us.
dropped the mic. His wife's going to the game, but he said no.
I mean, Tom, if you want to see a beatdown, then just look up bum fights on YouTube. You'll see the same thing. Honestly,
Tom is just, I sometimes don't have words. All right. To the Joy Law Firm text line on this Thomas Jefferson thing. It's got some buzz going. Should a woman be a football coach of a high school? If you just tuned in, 844-326-3663. All right, let's start here. Texter from the 803, Diesel says, I think Dawn Staley could coach a men's basketball team, but football might be a little different. They will have to do a halftime adjustments in the art classroom.
I mean, that does beg a very interesting question, because people have been talking about Dawn Staley coaching the men's team for a long time now. Would 18 to 21-year-old men's basketball players respect Dawn Staley? Like, her accomplishments are incredible. But you know how 18 to 21-year-old boys are.
Yeah.
Would they say, yeah, okay, whatever, Dawn? And then,
I don't know that all of them would, I mean, I think that's a fair question. I would like to imagine they would, but it's hard to say.
But also they have a choice of whether or not they want to go there and play for that coach.
Yeah, it's true.
These high school kids, they don't have that same choice.
Texter from the 262 says, I think you're right, Cole. I know me personally, I need to have respect for someone who leads. If that person has never walked in my shoes, I have a lot less respect for them. J Taz, is this J Taz or J Taz? J Taz says, I'm sure the boys won't mind having her as a coach if she looks anything like the girls' coach at Oklahoma. J-Tez, look up a picture of her. You will be disappointed if that's your prediction. All right, here's a good text, Diesel. Christy Mann, a Tolo, who we love. She is bringing a unique perspective on the story. She says on the text line, I don't personally believe that you can coach any sport well that you haven't played. That's coming from a woman who has a lot of experience in many sports. Again, that's Christy Mann. And I agree with that, Christy. I do.
For the most part. There are some coaches that have had a lot of success who didn't actually play the game, but they are few and far between.
That's correct. I would agree with that, what Diesel said, Christy, for the most part. And now let me say, to play devil's advocate, just because you were a good player doesn't make you a good coach. There's a lot of good players out there that are not good coaches,
True.
High school, college, and pro. So I think for the most part, like you said, yes, I do want to have someone coaching who has played it, not necessarily at a high level, but has played the game. From a broadcasting standpoint, we've talked about this as well. There are idiots out there, sorry for using that word, there are clowns out there that believe that, our opinion doesn't matter because we've never played the game at the high level. I think there are mindsets of those who think that way, that the only people that can coach, the only people that can comment, the only people that can talk about it, the only people that can broadcast are those who have played at the high level. It's not always true. So I think it's interesting with this female coach. There are a lot of different angles to hit there. Obviously, Tom talked about them. You and I talked about them. But if she can successfully pull this off, maybe she is the next feature on, is it March, Women's Month in Sport? I think women's, what do they call it? Women's in Sports Month. Well, I'm not being disrespectful. I forget the name of it. It features, the month features women, especially in sports, right? So it would be a great story one day if she could pull it off. I just don't see in football how it happens.
So you would rather them hire a less talented and knowledgeable coach who's male? But I'm assuming that she is the best coach they could find. I don't know that. Not in the room. I don't know if she was hired because the school board is trying to make a statement. If that's what it is, this will fail miserably and fall on its face.
Well, if they did their job the right way, and to your point, it's the best candidate. Like, that's very subjective, right? What does best mean? I mean,
right.
If you have
how do you like test and grade someone's football knowledge? I mean,
well, look, I'll say this. I think there are women. I think there are a few women, not a few. I think there are women who do know the game really well. I listen to several of them on ESPN and CBS. Hey, I'll tell you what. One of my favorite reporters, and Doris Burke. You know Doris Burke, NBA.
Sure, yeah.
I think Doris Burke's one of the best reporters, media. I mean, she is phenomenal. Now, Doris Burke never played NBA basketball. Doris Burke's commentating, reporting on the game, and I think Doris Burke is one of the most talented, gifted broadcasters, and she knows the game better than a lot of men know NBA. So from that standpoint, knowing the game, Diesel, it's a good question. Knowing the game and being able to talk about it's one thing. Being able to take that knowledge and apply it to the young men that she's going to be coaching is a different task. You and I might know a lot about fishing, but you and I coaching fishing is different than us knowing about fishing, right? So I'm not saying that this female doesn't know ball. She might know. She might know X's and O's and zone defense and man defense better than I do. She might have studied it more. But I just don't know that. I don't know how that's going to translate over to teaching the game. That's where I have a little skepticism.
And it's unfortunate, if all she can do is go coach like women's flag football, because that's showing up now. A lot of colleges are talking about adding women's flag football. I mean, she probably says, you know what, coaching flag football is beneath me. Doesn't matter whether it's women's flag football, men's flag football, or co-ed flag football. She doesn't care. She's like, I'm not here to coach flag football. I'm here to coach real football. And it's tough. Like, you're right. You may be extremely knowledgeable about this, but there's just some cultural norms that some people won't tolerate being violated. And at the very core, I'd say you can't have a female coach walking around in a boys' locker room.
No doubt. Here's the caveat. There is a caveat here. let's say, and I'm just using this as an example, Diesel, if Thomas Jefferson's in a league, in a region where they're just way more talented than everybody else.
Say they're the MVP of their region.
Yeah, maybe so. And they're stacked, okay? She goes in some scenarios, it doesn't matter. I'm going to say this loosely. It doesn't matter who the coach is. So if let's say she goes into a situation where her team is just flat more talented than everybody else. Player-led team, older veteran team, got more talent, might work.
Now you're bringing up did the coach inherit a Ferrari or a Ford Fiesta?
It might work. If it's not that case, I'm just saying there are situations where I think a female could win games. I don't want to sound like a a-hole and say a female could never win a football game, because that's not true. If the situation's right, we'll see. But I think this is one of those situations, man. This is wild. It really is.
Then again, though, if I see her like spit on the field and throw a headset, I'm like, you know what? I got a little more respect for her.
Yeah. And I can only imagine one of our Tolos who never ceases to amaze us with what he says, Rick from Greer. I can't wait to hear his opinion.
Oh,
on this.
boy.
Yeah. And by the way, where's Dewey? Has it been today's Thursday? We didn't hear from him yesterday or two, right? Did we hear from him at all this week?
We heard from him on Monday, but he's been gone.
Is he alive? Is he okay?
Arrested?
Dewey. Will they let you make a collect call? Rick and Greer, what's up, man?
I have a comment on what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a high school coach in South Carolina that's a one for football for a long time at Sugar Tit High School, right up the street. She's been a football coach for a long time. Getting back to the real thing, I think she should coach. If she's qualified and she can coach, let her coach, okay?
Who knew that Rick was the most progressive among us?
Rick, can you tell me, Rick, where Sugar Tit High School is?
It's beside Sugar Tit Middle School.
What's the mascot at Sugar Tit High School?
A big fat pig. It's a pig. They have a pig on the leash, on the string, and it's a pig. Okay?
I was expecting better.
Sugar Tit High School pig.
The pig.
What if they were they should change that mascot to a pair of geese? They could be the Sugar Tit Honkers.
Oh, that'd be good.
Oh, yeah. I might have to get it stuff. They only have 12 kids there. So.
At the whole school or on the team?
At the whole school.
Well, it's better when they come in pairs. That's for sure.
Could we get Rick? Let me tell you this real quick, Rick. Could we somehow? Now you're on to something. Could we sell Sugar Tit football merch? I'd wear a shirt. I'd wear it.
I don't know. We'll have to get. Sugar Tit has a liquor store, has a brewery in Sugar Tit. You know that, don't you?
I'm surprised out of all your business ventures, Rick, you don't have like a T-shirt screen printer.
Yeah.
And then you can make your own T-shirts.
Yeah.
I do.
Of course you do. Yeah. Now that I bring it up.
Yeah, now that you've already done it. Yeah. Rick, that's what I want from you. That's what I want. I want Sugar Tit High School merch. That's all I want, okay?
Well, let's see if we can do it. I will get you about 5 shirts if you like them, and we'll try to give them away or sell them or whatever.
Good.
But the Sugar Tit High School piggies, okay?
Right. Undefeated, too. Put that on the back. Undefeated since 1900.
And the name of the principal at Sugar Tit High School is Phil McCracken. That's the name of the guy. He's the high school principal, and he's a great man.
Thanks, Rick.
Oh my God. That went.
I have no idea.
Weird directions.
That sometimes I just don't know what to say. Is this new caller or is this Rick?
No, this is Rick. I hit the wrong button and didn't drop the phone.
All right, I was just making sure.
That's my bad. There you go. Now that he's dropped.
Thanks for the call, I guess,
Goodness
Rick.
Gracious.
Texter says Sugar Tit Hooters. I'm with it.
Sugar Tit Hooters. Yeah, their mascot could be the Owls. The Hooters or the Honkers? Which
both. Now I'm gonna get Chat GPT during the commercial break to come up with a logo.
Yes,
for Sugar Tit Hooters, Honkers, whichever it is. That is incredible. This show never ceases to amaze me. Sometimes,
God, it's wire to wire. I can't finish the sentence.
Good luck.
Diesel and Cole Bryson. When we come back, Cole, let's jump back into a little NCAA tournament chatter. Of the 4 teams left in it, who has had the most impressive path to get here through the tournament? We'll break that down to a little ranking next. This is a special treat, Cole. Going to the phone lines, 844-326-3663. The principal of Sugar Tit High School, Phil McCracken, joining the show. Welcome, Principal. Welcome to the show. Are you there, sir? Cocky for a reason.
I don't think he got it.
You didn't get the joke, did you?
No.
Wow, just right over his head.
Man, come on.
Right over his head.
Did you just tune in, or did you just not get the joke? Say you just tuned in. That always it'll sound better.
I just tuned in.
There you go. Much better. By the way, ChatGPT, Cocky, ChatGPT, whenever you get a chance, if you look on the stream, Diesel, Cocky for a reason, everybody else, ChatGPT did make us an official logo for Sugar Tit High School, the Hooters.
I love it.
What's up, Cocky for a reason?
Hey, you said y'all wanted to knock around the Final Four. Hey, there's only one Final Four I'm concerned about. That's the ladies' Final Four.
On Friday, is that right? Tomorrow.
That's right. That's right. And since I believe y'all are going to be off air tomorrow, all right? Are y'all?
No, we'll be here.
You mean like when the game starts?
No, you. I mean, are y'all taking it tomorrow off? Y'all?
No.
we'll be here.
Unfortunately, we do not get tomorrow off. We will be here.
Is it a holiday that we don't know about?
Good Friday.
Oh.
Good Friday.
Good Friday.
Didn't realize.
All right. Well, I can call back tomorrow, but I was just trying to nail down Cole, since Cole is on an island by himself.
Oh boy.
You know, against the Lady Gamecocks. Because the D is on my on my team. Right?
It's true. I got the Gamecocks winning the Natty,
and I want them to. I'm pulling for them, Cocky. I just I don't think I just don't think they beat UConn. Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm going to tell you wrong when you come meet me next week at Malden Ingalls Marketplace and allegedly pay off on an alleged arrangement that we have.
You know what? Look, listen, I'm a man of my word. You hold me to it, and you don't have to. It only goes one way. I will allow myself to be drawn into your bet that I think it was my fault. I think I did bring the bet up.
Pay him off with a raw ribeye?
That's what he wanted, right? You want a ribeye?
That would be our bet, not mine. It was our bet.
Was it? You know. Was it our? I guess so. But I mean, is that what you want? A raw ribeye? Is that what you want?
Yeah, I'm gonna cook my own ribeye. I don't want to pick up a ribeye. I don't want to pick up a ribeye in a parking lot already cooked.
Well, I had a couple of weeks ago. I had to work for the country station here. I had to work one of those ribeye in a truck sales. I give you one of those.
No, you're gonna have to stack about 5 of those together.
No doubt.
We're talking Ingalls Marketplace.
There we go. There we go.
You know, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
D, you're on my team, right?
In what sense? The game that I'm on with the Gamecocks?
Yeah, you're on with the Gamecocks, right?
Yeah. I got the Gamecocks winning the Natty. That's my pick on my bracket.
The way I look at it, Cole holds you.
I like this. I like getting roped into this.
We are really the bank account. I mean, you're right. Ingalls does have the best stakes. Shout out from Cocky for a reason, Ingalls. But no, I will. I'll hold my end of it. I'll hold it. If South Carolina does knock off UConn, I've got you a nice ribeye, bone in or boneless, Cocky for a reason.
Hey, if you're paying, it's tomahawk, baby.
Good God! You want some Wagyu while you're at it?
No. That means we got to go to the
Japan.
To the butcher and tell him to knock one off for us special because they don't put tomahawks in the case. In the set.
Yeah.
In the case.
Okay.
You gotta say, hey, John, can you hook me up with a tomahawk? And he'll say, yeah, I can do that, but it's going to take me 15 or 20 minutes, but he'll do it. So,
yeah, that's Ingalls for you. Well, Cocky for a reason. I got you. If South Carolina wins, the ribeye is yours.
I just want Tom to go Friday night and wipe the smug face, smug look off of Gino's face. That's all.
I'm with you on that. I am. I'm pulling for him.
Hey, Cocky for a reason. I'm going to give you a little piece of steak advice here, okay? Don't sleep on the flat iron steak. It's not a popular steak, but it is a delicious steak. It's like a gigantic fillet.
I'm with you.
Flat iron.
Never had it.
I venture out and don't. If you want to go on the cheap, go with the chuck eye steak.
Okay. Flat iron steak. You just got to remember to cut off the silver skin.
Yeah,
that's the only thing. Most butchers don't do
right.
that. You just got to cut off the silver skin, and you're good.
Oh, you speaking my language now, man. Speaking my language. But me and D is on point, and like I say, Cole is on an island by himself.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope I do, Cocky, for a reason. Thanks for the call as always, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man.
There you go.
Ribeye bet. It's on.
It is.
Ribeye bet.
It is. Cole, limited on time here, so we'll have to kind of run through this a little quicker. Maybe we'll bring it back up tomorrow on the show since we only have a couple of minutes here. But, just on a surface level, as you've looked over the 4 teams that are still in this Final Four, whose path do you think has impressed you the most, and whose path has prepared them the most for their Final Four matchups? UConn, you got a tough, gritty win over Furman.
Yeah.
15-point win over UCLA, a close game over Michigan State, and then a come-from-behind win against Duke. Does that blow you away? Is that your
the win
one?
The win over Duke does.
Yeah.
The other ones, no
it's
disrespect.
concerning to me that they had to come back from Duke from down 19.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd say let me look at Arizona's.
For Illinois, it's Penn, VCU, Houston, and Iowa. 14, 11, 2, and 9
I mean, that's a good that's a tough
beat.
path, man. Like, they beat a good Houston team, Diesel.
Illinois beat a 16 seed Howard, 9 seed St. Louis, 4 seed Alabama, 6 seed Tennessee.
Wait, who was the last team you said?
That's Illinois. Illinois had to beat back-to-back SEC teams. And Arizona, Arizona beat Cole. Sorry, I got a little twisted up here. Illinois beat, Penn, VCU, Houston, Iowa. Michigan beat Howard, St. Louis, Alabama, Tennessee. So I told you the wrong team there.
I like it. I like what Illinois done. That was a good Iowa team, man. You got to remember that Iowa team beat Florida,
right?
And Ben McCollum, they beat a good Florida team. They beat Clemson. They beat Nebraska. So then Iowa has to play Illinois, like you said. Illinois beat them, and remember, they beat them 71-59. I'd probably lean Illinois. I think that, look, a win over Duke's good.
But UConn's the only team that's beat a 1 seed in this tournament.
And that was Michigan. That was Duke. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's tough. I would probably put UConn as the bottom. And again, we're splitting hairs here, right? We're splitting hairs, but I think I'm going to go Illinois. Who would you say?
Illinois. See, to me, beating that number 1 overall seed that we all thought was absolutely indestructible and coming back from that level of adversity. Yes, they've had some gritty wins. And to me, I don't necessarily only look at point differential as impressive. Yes, it's impressive, but have you had to battle in these games? I think UConn's really had to battle. And the win over Duke was ugly. It was spectacular comeback fashion. To me, I think that holds more value than Michigan just blowing the doors off of Howard, St. Louis, Alabama, and Tennessee. Though, then again, it's really hard to say beating an SEC team by 33 points is not
it is
massively impressive.
Beat 2 of them, right? Beat 2 of them? I think it is.
Yeah.
I think all of them are, obviously, because they're there. But if you have to ask the question, have to answer the question, I really like what Illinois has done. Let's go to the phone lines real quick before we run to a break. Matt wants to weigh in on the conversation. What's up, Matt?
Hey, just a couple of things quickly. I wanted to talk, address something that Cocky, for a reason, said. I'm maybe the outlier, but I just have a difficult time watching the women's basketball. And I'll tell you why. It's not that I have anything against women. I've always seen sports as like a spectacle. Like, I want to see people do things that I can't do. And one of the things that people say is, well, the women's game is fundamentally better than the men. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, like, I don't know that anybody as a kid ever dreamed of, making a 2-hand chest pass as much as they dreamed of, like, being, Michael Jordan and slam dunking something. So I kind of want to see people do things that I can't do. I think, as much as I hate to say it because I'm your Ohio guy, one of your Ohio guys, I think Michigan is going to roll through this thing. And I wanted to mention one thing on Tiger Woods that not many people are talking about. So I'm the workout enthusiast. I'm wondering if one of the reasons why Tiger was hesitant to take a blood test or a urine test was because of PEDs, because I'm going to tell you guys, I watched him on the TGL broadcast the other night, and dude is ripped. And, if you look at his evolution of his body over time, he really changed his body from a very skinny young man to, a bulky. I mean, dude looks jacked. He looks like a safety. But, with performance enhancing drugs comes a lot of different side effects, like kind of a puffy face, joint problems. And I get that he's had a repetitive motion golf swing forever. So that would explain the joint problems, but I don't think that anybody's talking about that. I know you guys made a comment the other day that, you kind of felt like Tiger's turning into kind of a sleazy character before our eyes. But, with a lot of the stuff that's happened, and he's been linked to PEDs before, the marital infidelities, I don't think this thing is it might be progressing, but it's hard for me not to think that this has been something that's been ongoing.
Oh, I agree with that. And by the way, let me comment on your first thing real quick with the women. I agree with what you said. If somebody does tune in and wants to be wowed, no disrespect, women's basketball is not what's going to wow them, right? And I completely agree with you there. I have to, as a fan, everybody's different, Matt. I have to find different reasons to enjoy women's basketball at the highest level. I do think it's still a very good product. However, Diesel and I have talked about this recently. The gap is an ocean between the best and the middle of the pack in terms of women's basketball. But like, for example, I think women's basketball featuring South Carolina and UConn this Friday, I think that will be high-level basketball. Now, if you're expecting MJ and AI and, the best of the best out there, if that's what you're expecting, you are going to be let down.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of my point, too. It's like, we like a guy like John Daly because he hits it a mile farther than we could ever hit it. We can relate to that. We like Jordan because, he could take off from the foul line. And the girls' game, hey, I've got nothing against the gals, and, I wish them nothing but the best. And my daughter was a college athlete, played collegiate volleyball. I'm all for it. I think it's great. But me personally, I have a difficult time watching it because I don't see a lot that really stands out.
Matt, I've heard people over the years suggest the idea of lowering the rim to 9 feet for the women's game, which would introduce the slam dunk into the game, right? There's some girls who could slam dunk on a 9-foot rim a lot more than can dunk on a 10-foot rim. And that would add that element of excitement. I don't know if that would do a whole lot for you, but, that has been brought up. But every time you bring it up, people always say, oh, that's sexist. That's sexist. Why do we have to play on different equipment? We should be able to play on the same size court and same dimensions, rim height and all that stuff. It's something that I think would make the game more exciting, but people who are proponents of the game don't want it.
Well, and I think that relates to your the female football coach. I think we've gotten to a place in our country, and I don't mean to get political, where we've just we have this desire to say that men and women are the same, and they're just not. And that's not to say that women can do a million things better than men.
Yeah.
But there
No
are
doubt.
some things
A lot.
men can do better than women. And, I don't know where we got away from being okay with the fact that men and women are different and have different gifts and abilities and talents.
No, I think it's a great call. Matt, appreciate the phone call as always, man. Good stuff there. I agree with him, Diesel, and didn't mean to cut him off. Sorry about that, Matt. I think he's dead on. Let's go to a break. We've got to run to a break, and then we'll get to the other callers on the other side. The phone lines are lighting up, which is a good thing. We'll get to the other callers next. Has not stopped. Diesel on this TOLO Takeover Thursday. It's gone from wire to wire, and it'll continue for another hour. And I appreciate the phone call from Matt. Always a good call. Do want to go back to the phone lines, and he apologized for doing this. He said, hey, I know I've already called in, but I do want to comment on one thing that Matt said. Cocky for a reason, who just called in, wanted to get one more thought in, and because we are a show of the people, we'll allow it. Cocky for a reason. Go ahead.
I appreciate the time. Matt's, talking about, the excellence and, the men's game is so much better than the women's game. It's better. It's different. It's different. But if his viewpoint of watching sports is greatness, he must not have kids, because if he has kids and he sat through Little League or youth football or church basketball, there's not much excellence there. I've coached and watched plenty, and there's some sucky games out there. So if his viewpoint is excellence, he must not have kids, because if he's got kids, they ain't no excellence in Little League stuff.
Taking shots at the Little Leaguers. Thanks for the call, Cocky for a reason.
Matt did say he's got a daughter.
He did say
high
college,
school,
college volleyball.
Yeah.
That's good. Look, everybody's got a different opinion on it. It's women's sports. They're evolving. They're changing. They're growing. It may not be your cup of tea. I don't watch just a random A&M versus Arkansas game on a Tuesday. But high level, South Carolina, UConn, I like watching. I like the product of the highest. I don't like watching 30-point blowouts. I'll be very clear on that.
It's like, we talk about the men's game as a tournament sport. I think women's college basketball truly is a Final Four sport.
Right now it is.
The totality of the tournament, sure, there's some great games in the rounds of 64, 32, 16, and 8. But now we're down to the point where it's like, all right, these are the four brands that people know. These are the four brands that people expect to be here year in and year out. And for the most part, we've seen a lot of uncompetitive games.
And hopefully that changes.
In a tournament that's supposed to be the best teams in the country.
Yeah. No, that's true. I agree. All I'd say is I hope for the growth of the game that does change. I hope it does, because there are a lot of good players. Unfortunately, I just don't think there are as many to spread across the entire league like there are at the men's level.
The best thing about all of it is if you don't find it compelling to watch, you don't have to. And that's okay. There's no big deal. There's no shame in not watching something that you're not into. When we come back, Cole, we're now 3 weeks away from the NFL draft. Fernando Mendoza had his pro day. All the scouts were there salivating over him. I don't know why, though. Why anybody other than the Raiders? We'll break down this quarterback class and talk about Fernando Mendoza's pro day next.